Stars.
UZOAGBA.
Stars.
UZOAGBA. Mr. President, existing protocols observed. I want to introduce the next guest who will give us lecture on leadership and development. She is Mrs. Blessing Alita, ACIBMNIN. She is the CEO and lead coach at Rank Crest Consulting Limited. She holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Economics, Masters in Business Administration, and a Diploma Superior. This is French.
Diplôme supérieur.
Diploma Superior from Alliance Francaise Paris. She has been trained and certified on a number of different courses and professional trainings, both local and offshore. She is a certified banker and an associate of Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, a certified manager by the Nigerian Institute of Management, a certified manager by the Nigerian Institute of Management, Chartered, a member of Learning and Development Network International, a roundtable facilitator and an independent certified coach, trainer and speaker with Maxwell Leadership Team led by the #1 leadership guru, Dr. John C. Maxwell. Her stint in different areas has given her an edge in understanding individuals and organizational needs. She is passionate about intentional growth and focuses her teachings on value-based, people-centric leadership development lessons that help in moving teams and organizations to reach their goals. Mrs. Blessing Alita is driven by her passion to guide leaders who want to lead and inspire their people to take bold actions and achieve their desired results. She believes strongly that dynamism, creativity, passion to serve with excellence, and intentionality are the pathway to achieving significance. As a leadership development expert, coach, training consultant, and speaker, she facilitates round-table discussions, trains mid and senior level leaders to develop their communication skills, leadership skills, and to build a strong culture within their organizations. Mrs. Blessing Alita, who loves to be called BA, is committed to helping leaders and their teams to achieve clarity and higher levels of performance by intentionally living out good leadership values. Mr. President, this is Mrs. Blessing Alita.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Nicole, for that wonderful introduction. I'm very pleased and so excited to be here with you this evening to spend the next few minutes, maybe less than an hour, to discuss a topic that is very intriguing, and that is on leadership. As we all know, leadership is something that applies to every aspect of life, be it your personal life, be it in managing teams or organizations or communities or even leading leaders. Leadership is something that we cannot throw to the back seat if we really want to thrive and move forward in whatever we're doing. So in the next few minutes, I want us to look at some laws guiding leadership. It's a very broad topic, and there is no way we can do justice to it in a few minutes. It's a continuous, ongoing thing. But within the short time that we have together, we would look at a few laws. I know that here, we are all leaders. I think we are the ESCO of the UZOAGBA Star Social Club of Nigeria, which means we are the leaders taking this vision forward. We are also captains of industry. Most of us have been leading almost all our lives, or for as long as we have been aware of ourselves. We've been leading, or so to speak, or managing. But we will see if what we've been doing is truly leadership or management. So I've titled this Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And in the introduction, you were told I am a member of Maxwell Leadership Certified Team, led by the #1 leadership guru, Dr. John C. Maxwell. No one in history has written more books or said things more about leadership and personal growth than Dr. John C. Maxwell. He is my friend and he is my mentor. I stand on his shoulder today to bring you this message. So we'll look at some of the laws that he has said, irrefutable laws of leadership. Now, where will our focus be this evening? We will look at what leadership is. We will look at what influence is. Then there are some assumptions that people make about leadership. We will look at a few of those assumptions. There are little truths, some truths, we will look at them. There are levels of leadership also. We will take a look at that. And then we will come to the laws of leadership and take a few of them. Then what we're doing here this evening is to move our club forward. So we'll look at how UZOAGBA Stars Club can stay true to its vision, to its mission and the core values that you have. Then we'll have time for the questions and answers. Like I said, everybody here is a leader. You have been leading. What then is leadership? There are so many definitions. You have your Google here now. If you Google it, you will have more than 700 definitions. Different things will pop up as what leadership is. I picked a few. I said leadership is a set of behaviors used to help people align their collective direction, to execute strategic plans, and to continually renew an organization. This is a definition by McKinsey. Another definition says leadership is an approach where acts by persons influence other persons in a shared direction. Yet another definition says leadership is about guiding and impacting outcomes, enabling groups of people to work together to accomplish what they couldn't do working individually. But my friend and mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell, has the definition that I will be standing upon this evening. And he says leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. That is what leadership is, no other definition. It is simply influence, nothing more, nothing less. Next, okay? So what then is influence? What is influence? They say something that affects the emotions, the opinions, or behavior of others. It's influence, right? Yes. And then the power to affect, to control, or manipulate something or someone is also influence. Then the ability to change the development of fluctuating things, such as conduct, thoughts, or decision, is also influence. An action exerted by a person or a thing with such power on another to cause change is influence. Somebody says it's brainwash, right? So an element that is believed to determine someone's character or individual tendency is also influence. I fall back again to my friend and mentor's definition. Leadership is influence. I want to hear it from you. Leadership is what? Influence.
Nothing more,
nothing less. That's just what.
Is the man
outside? So
is the man outside?
Outside?
Dr. Maxwell.
Over the drink.
I can give you his contact. So, we have looked at what leadership, we've defined it. We have also defined influence. I want to tell you this evening, you are captains of industry. You have been leading or managing. I want to say that everyone has some level of influence. Do you agree or not?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But just because you have influence doesn't mean you are a good leader.
That's
Absolutely.
That's where brainwashing comes. So we said we'll look at assumptions. People have made several assumptions about leadership. More and more people recognize the value of good leadership. Yet, not very many work to become better leaders because they make one or the other of these assumptions. Let's look at what these assumptions are. Some say, I am not a born leader, so I can't lead. That's what some people say. While it is true that some people are born with more natural gifts that will help them to lead at a higher level, everyone has the potential to become a leader. So when you say, I'm not a born leader, I cannot lead, I say, that's not true. Leaders are not necessarily born, leaders are made. Because leadership is a learnable skill. Just like every other skill is learnable. Leadership is a skill that can be learned. No one is necessarily born with them. Some are born with more gifts to be charismatic to lead, but some don't have it. But with effort and the desire, it can be learned and acquired. Some people also erroneously think that a title and seniority will automatically make me a leader. You can have a title and that seniority, but you will be incapable of leading. And some people may have no title, but they are just leaders. You see them taking the front row when something comes up, but they have no title, no seniority, but they take the lead. Those people are leaders. Other people say work experience will automatically make me a leader. In organizations, people say, oh, I've spent 10 years on this. So because maybe you are the oldest person there, naturally you become the leader. Or in a department, because you are the so-called most experienced person, they say you are the leader. It doesn't always follow. Leadership is like maturity. It doesn't automatically come with age. Never. It doesn't. Tenure does not create leadership ability. You may have spent 100 years in that position. It doesn't make you a leader. Some still say, I am waiting until I get a position to start developing as a leader. Some people will see, give me that position, no title, nothing, so I will not be. You don't need that. So if you start learning about leadership now, not only will you increase your opportunities, but you will also make the most of them when they arrive. John Wooden, the UCLA basketball coach, once said that when opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. When opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. You must have been prepared before that opportunity comes, otherwise it will pass you by. What are some truths about leadership? Leadership is not necessarily something that we're born with. Like I said, it is a skill that we develop. It's a skill. And leadership is not about a title, it's not about designation. It's about impact, it's about influence, it's about inspiration. That's what Robin Sharma, an author, said. I don't know how many of us have read Robin Sharma's books. That's what he says. And that leadership is learned, like I said. You need to learn how to lead yourself first, so you can lead others well. If you cannot lead yourself, you can't lead others. And the most difficult person to lead is yourself. You need to be able to lead yourself because you need discipline to be able to lead yourself. If you can discipline yourself, then you can actually lead others. So leadership, again, I say, it's not about titles, it's not about positions, it's not about the flow charts. It's about one life influencing another. Okay? Leadership has levels. There are levels to leadership. We seated here have been leaders for long. Now, there are 5 levels of leadership. The first level of leadership is called the position, positional leadership. Almost everybody starts at that level. At this level, you just have the responsibility given and you're leading. It's the starting point. at this point, people will follow you because they have to. Because they have said, this man is the head of the department. This man is the president. That woman is this. So people follow you because of that position that they have given to you. Not because they want to, but they have to do it because they said you are the head. So they follow you. Most of the time, some of them won't antagonize you because you don't have authority per se. And your language is like a kindergarten sort of language. So now you move from that. It's a good place to start for everyone, but it's a very terrible place to remain. You have to strive to move to the next level. And the next level is where you build relationships. It is called permission. That's the second level. Here, people will follow you because they want to. Because of the relationships that you have built with them. People will then want to follow you. The next one is called production. This is where results are produced in your leadership. Here, people follow you because of what you have done for the organization. People will follow you at this stage. Then the fourth stage is people development. Here, you are reproducing. So people follow you because of what you have done for them. Every leader's responsibility is to reproduce himself, reproduce other leaders. If you say you are such a good or fantastic leader, you must be able to reproduce yourself so that succession is easy. When you are able to reproduce yourself, the results are good, then you will say you have reached the stage. The fifth level of leadership is what is called the pinnacle. And this pinnacle is where people just respect you for who you are. People follow you because of who you are and what you represent. People on this stage, this pinnacle stage, are known outside their organizations, some outside their countries, and just name it. You can take an example of Nelson Mandela. This is where, yes, pinnacle. That was the stage Nelson Mandela was. Nelson Mandela was a South African, but we knew him in Nigeria, didn't we?
Absolutely.
And why did we know him? Because of who he was and what he represented. So, level 5 leadership is not necessarily where everyone needs to strive to be. Stage 3 and 4 are good. It is not age dependent. You could be young, you could be old, but if you are at these stages 3 and 4, you are doing just fine. Nothing stops you from striving to be at the pinnacle stage. Yes, you can, but it is not necessary. Okay. Now, we come to the laws of leadership. Again, my friend and mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell, says that there are 21 irrefutable laws. 21. If you follow these laws, you are guaranteed of success in your life, in your marriage, in your organization, in your teams, in your clubs, in your communities, and even your country. These are laws that are written. If you follow them, you would see a difference. And not some intellectual thesis on leadership. They're made up of very simple, practical steps that are easy to understand and implement. However, I said earlier, leadership is a very broad subject. It's not something that we can cover or do complete justice to in a few minutes or in the short time that we have together. For that reason, we're going to look at 3 of these laws today. And for those who will be interested in knowing the other laws, I can talk to you about it later after this presentation or at the end of it. There are ways to get to know those laws. It will help you. It will really, really help you. So we will look at 1, the law of the lead. And this law says, leadership ability determines a person's level of effectiveness. The second law we'll look at is the law of influence. I'm sure if we don't look at a law related to influence, our stay here today would not be complete. We've been talking about influence. And this law says the true measure of leadership is influence, not in more, not in less. The third law we would look at is the law of process. Leadership develops daily, not in a day. It's a daily thing. Okay?
That means a gradual.
Yes. Again, Dr. John C. Maxwell says, the secret of your success is in your daily agenda. What do you do daily? The secret of your success lies in your daily agenda. If you know your daily agenda, if it has not yielded the results that you have been looking for over the years, begin to tweak it and change something, because the secret of your success lies in what you do daily. Now, the law of the lead. Leadership ability is the lead that determines the person's level of effectiveness. We know what a lead is. The lower an individual's ability to lead, the lower the lead on his potential. The higher the individual's ability to lead, the higher the lead on his potential. If your leadership rates at, if you put it on a scale of 1 to 10, for example, and they want to rate your leadership and how good it is, if your rating is an 8, your effectiveness can never be greater than a 7. At worst, it will be at 8, but it can never be at 9 or 10. You can't do much more than what you know. It is the level, that's cap, where you are, that's how you will be able to lead. So your leadership ability, for better or for worse, always determines your effectiveness and the potential impact it has on your organization. The higher you want to climb in your leadership, the more you need leadership. The greater the impact you want to make, the greater your influence needs to be. Whatever you will accomplish is restricted by your ability to lead others. Whatever you will accomplish, be it in life, be it in the club, be it in your team, be it in your companies, whatever you will accomplish is restricted to your ability to lead others. It just has to do with people. People, people, people. You are influencing someone. It is not things, it's people. If a person's leadership is strong, the organization's lead is high. But if it is not, then the organization is actually limited. Because if you don't know, what are you showing others? That's why in times of trouble, you will see that organizations look for new leadership. Because they have seen the lead. They have seen that you cannot go beyond this. You can't give what you don't have. That's something we know. You can't give it. What you know is what you give from. Now, to the law of influence. We said the true measure of leadership is influence, right? We said leadership is not about title. We talked about it. It's not about position. It's simply influence. If there are low levels of influence, then there are low levels of leadership. If the influence is low, leadership is low. Influence comes from valuing people. Valuing people. It just has to do with people. That's how you have influence. Because people don't care. They don't care how much you know. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. You can know so much, but if you don't care for them, you are on your own. You can never succeed in what you're doing. Zig Ziglar, who is also an author and a motivational speaker, he just summed it up so nicely. He said, you can get everything you want in life if you help as many people as possible to get what they want. It's a give and take. If you help many people get what they want, you will also get what you want. In leadership, We can all be seated and we say we're leaders. When a real leader speaks, people will listen. And you call yourself a leader wherever you are, because you are the top boss, because you are maybe the owner of the company or whatever it is, and you're the leader, you're right there in front. If you are leading and no one is following you, you are not leading but simply taking a walk. You must have people following you for you to qualify to be called a leader. Okay? Talking about influence, there are myths that people have about influence. People often get management and leadership mixed up. Management and leadership are not the same thing. Leadership is about influencing people to follow you, while management focuses on maintaining systems and processes. You don't manage people, you manage resources and systems. You lead people. Management actually can be a part of leadership, but just because you can manage something effectively, it doesn't mean you can lead. In an organization, for example, let's say in an office, you're watching how people spend time. Maybe you give them 1 hour break and they take 2 hours, or people who come in late and all of that. That's not leadership, that's management, because it's about the system and the processes. Management is efficiency, control, and manage risk. But leadership gives direction. There's enthusiasm in leadership, there's inspiration, and there's influence. There's another myth called the entrepreneur myth. People assume that all entrepreneurs are leaders, but that's not always the case. The fact that you are an entrepreneur does not necessarily make you a leader. Just because someone identified a gap in the market and moved quickly to exploit an opportunity doesn't mean that person is a leader. You're an entrepreneur, it doesn't necessarily make you a leader. Leading takes an entirely different skill set. Entrepreneurs can be brilliant, no doubt, but that's not leadership. You have to care. I said it's about people. You have to care. Okay? Another myth is the knowledge myth. Most people believe that power is the essence of leadership, and they assume that those who possess power and intelligence are leaders, but that is not automatically true. IQ doesn't necessarily equate leadership. You can be intelligent, you can have it all, but it does not equate leadership. You can be a professor, but you're not a good leader. Someone can be, the person following you is leading, and you will see that even in an organization, people might follow that person who does not really show that he has that IQ. IQ does not equal leadership. And leadership equals power. That's an erroneous belief. Therefore, whoever has power, talking about what they believe now, is a great leader. But it's not true, because you can't force people to follow you. You can never force people to follow you. They have to want to follow you. So, another myth about influence is that people feel that it's a misconception that anyone who is out in front of the crowd is a leader. But being the first isn't always the same thing as leading. No, it doesn't follow. To be a leader, they feel again, a person has to not only be out in front, but also have people intentionally coming behind him, following his lead and acting on his vision. That's what it is. Not because you're just out there in front, then you're a leader. No, it doesn't follow. So, I said here, you can get there first. But if no one follows you, you are not a leader. You are taking a walk. Taking a walk. The final myth about influence is the position myth. It's actually a misconception to think that leadership is based on position. It is not the position that makes the leader. It's the leader that makes the position. It is you. Okay? Leadership isn't about our egos. It's about valuing people. I'm a big man, I'm a boss, I am the leader, I am the chairman, I am this. I am just the guy. It's not about the ego. Are you valuing your people? Before people are interested in following a leader, there are three questions that they need you to answer. They need you to answer these three questions. You said you are leading. In their mind and written invisibly on their foreheads, do you care for me? Can you answer that question honestly and sincerely? Can you help me? We are the ESCO of UZOAGBA Stars Social Club of Nigeria. They are asking you from the community, do you care for me? Can you help me? And can I trust you? Leadership is about trust. Can the people trust you? You have your vision, you have your mission, you're saying all of those things. Can they trust you to deliver, to take them to the promised land? These are the questions you must answer to your people. The third law is the law of process. Leadership, like I said earlier, is a learnable skill. But like over time, leaders develop day by day. It's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. You don't attend one training program and become a great leader overnight, like we're doing here now. It doesn't change overnight. It takes time. It takes commitment. And a certain level of investment in yourself. Investment was coming, you must invest in yourself to develop that leadership skill if you don't have it. But if you make that investment, your leadership skill will definitely develop. Becoming a leader is a lot like investing successfully in the stock market. If your hope is that you will make a fortune the same day you invested, you cannot succeed. You have to wait for the stocks to appreciate so that you get better value for your money. There are no successful day traders in leadership development. Successful day. Market good today. It does not happen in leadership. What matters most is what you do day by day over a long haul. It takes some time. Okay? Now, we're coming home. Coming home to why we're here. The reason you leaders are seated here is to make your community better. And you cannot achieve that simply because you have been leading your organizations for years, because you have been chosen because of the high ranks, and everything. This little thing called competence must come to play. And competence is the shortest path to credibility. It's the shortest path to credibility, your competence. Competence goes beyond words. It's the person's ability to say it, ability to plan it, and do it in a way that others know you know how. People will know that you know how. That's competence. And they also know that they want to follow you. We all admire people who display high competence, don't we? We do. Whether they are precision craftsmen or world-class athletes or successful business leaders like you, often the ability to do something with excellence time and time again seems like a rare talent. But the truth is that with the right mindset and the ability to work, anyone can excel in the area of competence. You need competence to take this club forward. I know you're competent, you're experienced, you're captains of your industry, but competence in every and any area must come into play. I seated here because we have the confidence that we can do something for our community. We can take them to the promised land. And I'm saying that confidence is believing you can do something. But competence is actually doing it. What you said you will do, are you able to do it? You need competence, not just the confidence to achieve that. To cultivate the quality of confidence, there are some key truths that I bring to you this evening. Competent people make themselves available. They make themselves available. There's a saying, all things come to those who wait, right? Yes. Unfortunately, sometimes those things are just the leftovers from the people who got there first. Responsible people show up when they are expected. But highly competent people take it a step further. They don't show up in body only. No. They don't show up in body only. They come ready to play the game every day. They are ready. No matter how they feel, no matter the circumstances that they face, and how difficult they expect the game to be. The game of moving UZOAGBA community. It's not a walk in the park. It's not a vacation sport. It comes with some challenges. But these people that are competent, who make themselves available, will put all those feelings behind them and go headlong to play that game to win. Again, competent people follow through with excellence. Performing at a high level of excellence is always a choice. No doubt, it's a choice. It's an act of the will. John Maxwell, for example, says, I never really go into a project thinking about how I can meet people's expectations. No, he doesn't do that. He's always asking, how can I surpass their expectation and surprise them in a positive way? Are you ready to surprise the people of your community in a positive way? Competent people do what it takes to achieve their goals with excellence because the quality of their work matters to them. Do you want the people of the community to say, these big people, see, they cannot even, no, those people are not here. So, competent people keep improving. They keep improving. All highly competent people continually search for ways to keep learning. They keep growing. They keep improving. What you knew yesterday, the world is moving fast. It will leave you behind if you are not learning, if you are not improving. Competent people just keep learning, growing, and improving. They know that by increasing their skills, they will make themselves more capable and thus more valuable. If you are not valuable to the people of the community, I don't know what we are doing. Competent people, again, grow in more than just the skills necessary to do that particular job. They also strive to understand the thinking behind the task. Not that, oh, we want to build a community hospital. And what's the thinking behind doing that? You must understand the thinking behind that. They do that by asking why. After all, someone once said that the person who knows how will always have a job. But the person who knows why will always be the boss. You will be ahead because you know why. Oh, they said we should do it. Do you know why? Competent people inspire others because competent people always do their best. Their actions inspire others to do so as well. They are often described as good examples by their leaders, and competent people who are also confident allow their actions to do the talking. What are you doing? They don't criticize others. Instead, they show people how to do things right. That's where competence comes in. Your competence would bring credibility. If you're not competent, There will be no credibility. People will never believe in you. There are benefits that come with almost everything that we do. When you grow your competence, what benefits do you stand to derive? When you demonstrate competence by doing things with excellence, you will experience the following benefits, and maybe more. One, you are capable to make things happen at a critical time. That's a critical time. But your competence can actually help you to make things happen. You are also rewarded with greater responsibility. I'm sure we have all heard that the reward for good work is more work. If you have done well, they will look for you to do it again. It doesn't end once. It's not a one-off thing. It will happen. If you're competent, you will have a track record of success. You will also excel no matter what the circumstances are. You will inspire others to achieve greater things in the team or in your community. And because you keep improving, your competence and your success would definitely increase over time. Remember, we said it's a process, it doesn't happen in a day. If you are asking yourself questions, or you know people who are not competent and you want to train them after this training, there are simple basic steps that they can follow to build their competence. One, commit yourself to your work, to the work that you have been given. Commitment. Commitment. If you follow through commitment, you will get there. Mentally or emotionally detached from the work you're meant to do, it's time for you to re-engage. This is the time to re-engage. First, you must rededicate yourself to the job that you set out to do for this community or for your organizations or your teams. And you must determine to give it an appropriate amount of your undivided attention. Your undivided attention is needed. Secondly, you have to figure out why you have been detached. I don't think the detached people are in this room, but sometimes it happens that you're just detached. Most times, please, you need to ask yourself, is it that you're in need of more challenges? Or are you even in conflict with some people? Some of the people in your team, in your ESCO, or your president, or your leader, or whatever, are you in conflict? Or is it possible that you're not working in your area of strength? Maybe they said, come and take charge of security, and you don't have the experience there. You're not working in your area of strength, you cannot function well. But if you're working in your area of strength, you will just see yourself flying. It just comes to you naturally. You need to identify the source of that problem and create a plan to resolve it. Thirdly, you need to redefine your standard. If you're not performing at a consistently high level, re-examine your standards. Are you aiming too low? Do you cut corners? What's the language someone used again? Brainwash. If so, push your mental reset button and create more demanding expectations for yourself. Intentionality. You need to be intentional in what you're doing. And for you to be intentional, to go on this uphill journey of taking the UZOAGBA community to the promised land, you need to rely on 3 words. We talked about 3 questions before. We're talking about 3 words that must be in your vocabulary. 1, you must be deliberate. You must be deliberate. Being intentional never occurs by accident. It doesn't occur by accident. It requires a person to think. It requires a person to consider where he wants to go and then plan what he intends to do. You must know where you're going. You must know what you want to do and then plan towards it. So you must be deliberate. No. Move. Okay. Don't worry. Go back. You must be consistent also in what you're doing. Be deliberate, be consistent, and be willful. You must be willing to do it. Those are the 3 words. So now, I want to say something. You are seated here trying to take the UZOAGBA community forward. We have our individual names. We have our company names. Whatever it is, whatever cap you're wearing outside, seated here, you're wearing a cap as an ambassador of the UZOAGBA community. And I said, being a part of a team or a community like this is having the opportunity to be a part of something greater than you could ever achieve or accomplish on your own. You can't do it alone. One person can't do it. Being a part of this is being part of something that is greater. But please note that no player in this team is flawless, and no team is perfect. We all have our individual strengths and weaknesses. No team anywhere in the world is flawless, and no team is perfect. You must look beyond the flaws. Look beyond the flaws and embrace the strengths. Look beyond the flaws of individuals. Embrace the strengths, because the sum is more important than the parts. Put the team before the player. Put UZOAGBA community before yourself. That's what I'm saying here. A team that is made up of players with pride and passion in what they represent as a whole is what separates the gold medalists from the silver medalists. True or false?
True.
You represent UZOAGBA community first, and then yourself second. In all that you're doing, be as confident and as glorified as you desire on your own. But once you put on the cap of UZOAGBA Social Club, you play for the team in front. Well, football lovers, what is in front of the jersey?
Logo.
The club. You play for that club first, not the person. What name is at the back? Name. So, once you're putting on this cap as the ESCO, you're playing for that name in front, not the person on the back. So put your team first, because if you put them first, they will also put you first. Have pride in the team that you represent. Have pride. The satisfaction as a whole is greater than the self-glory. The satisfaction as a whole is greater than the self-glory. My holy book tells me that when people come together and do not care who takes the glory, nothing, absolutely nothing, shall be impossible for them to achieve. That's what my holy book tells me. What does yours tell you? What does everything you present here tell you? If you come together and don't care who takes the glory, you want to move. If you don't care who takes the glory, together, you can
That's like
achieve great things. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening. I believe with these few words of mine, I believe you will take this great club forward by the grace of God.
Thank you.
Leaders never stop learning. I told you, leadership is a very wide, broad topic. We can't do absolute justice to it in a few minutes, an hour, or even. So we have to keep learning. I have my contact details here. We can take it after now. Now, what I do as a member of Maxwell leadership team, it's not just training. What we've just done here is the leadership training. We do training on personal growth. Nobody is too old to learn to grow. Growth is something that is continuous. It doesn't come automatically. We do that. We do what is called a mastermind. It's a group study of books and then the application. Remember I talked about the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. We have 15 invaluable laws of growth. We have 16 laws of communication. If you are able to sit and study these books, you will gain insights from other people. So we do that. We call it a mastermind. Maybe a keynote speaker. You have a program, you want to bring in a keynote speaker or whatever. Well, I do coaching. I mentor. Coaching is not about teaching. A coach doesn't tell you what to do. A coach sees where you are, puts forward questions to help you get to where you want to be. That's what a coach does. But a mentor has been there and holds you by the hand to lead you through that road. No one is too old or too young to be mentored. We do behavioral assessment and personality profiles. Some of us have difficulty managing our people, or people antagonize you often. We would keep wondering, why is it like that? You need to know your personality type and how it affects the people that work for you or work with you or work around you. If you understand your personality type, you will begin to change your language and see positive results. We are an organization we don't have a one size fits all kind of thing. One size does not fit all. We do tailor-made things. If you mean, who am I? This small girl standing before great men like you. For giving me this opportunity to talk to you today, I want to offer you a bonus. For those of you who have organizations, or I'm sure you all have your companies, I want to offer myself to give 2 days free training for you and your staff or your managers in the office. It could be virtual, it could be physical in Lagos. Tell me where you are. If you're outside Lagos, we could do it virtually. If you're in Lagos anywhere, we could come to you 2 days free. We would give free training to you and your teams. All you need to do is tell me what you want. And what will this training be tailored towards? It will help you to raise the productivity and income through teamwork. I am offering myself for free. So if anyone is interested in that, this is the email address to reach me, and that's my direct line. That line, it's on WhatsApp, it's on call, it's on SMS, whichever way. 247, it is on. It doesn't go off, it doesn't lack data. Anytime.
Uzo.
Okay, Uzo.
Madam, thank you so much for this in-depth. I think this is about the third time I've benefited from your lectures. And I think the club is very grateful to your person. The next we will have, because of time factor, we'll quickly take questions and answers. The Vice President will give the vote of thanks and the closing ceremony here. So first of all, members of this group, we have the leadership question for Mrs. Blessing Alinta. The floor is open.
Thank you. Mine will not be a question, but a request for you to kindly avail us a soft copy of this training so we can equally share platforms and still study further. Like we said, leadership does not develop in a day, so we need to go home and still do more research. So, thank you.
Okay, barring all that, Mr. Vice President.
Can I answer? I want to ask a question.
Okay, the President wants to ask.
Thank you, madam, for this beautiful lecture. It's not easy to keep these men seated without looking at their time and not complaining. So that means everybody enjoyed this thing. I enjoyed it so much and I benefited from it. Yeah, but my question goes to the slides you put through. You said leadership is influence. And it goes through the levels of leadership.
Yes.
May I say categorically clear that why did you not take us through the levels of influence, since leadership is influence? I want to understand if these two things are two parallel lines or if they coexist at some point. Leadership is influence, and we went through the levels of leadership. I also want to believe that it could have been levels of influence and not leadership. It's a tricky question. And I want it to be
Leadership is influence, right? Nothing more, nothing less.
in your words.
In John Maxwell's words and my words.
Okay.
Yes, okay? Developing influence, I said, has to do with valuing people. You have to value people. For you to have influence, simply, you need to ask for people's hands, right? You care. But people will never give you their hands until you have touched their hearts. You must touch the people's hearts before you ask for their hands. Isn't it?
Yes.
So, that is what, you don't need other stages, stage 1, stage 2. Just touch the people's heart. And then you can ask for their hand. When they have given you their hand, what has happened? You have influenced them. That's what I would say. It doesn't require stages.
Okay, thank you.
More questions. Let me just make a little input before the Vice President comes on board. Like Mr. President said, your delivery was top. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
It's precise and to direction. I love particularly the definition that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. If you want to win election, influence us. Nothing more, nothing less. Those that failed election is because they didn't have influence and there is nothing to offer. Because it doesn't take the whole money in account to get the people to support you.
Yes.
It is predicated on what you have within and nothing more, nothing less. So this is a very good introduction into our leadership and our club system. So from time to time, we will develop it because I've heard from Madam that it's not one day. Therefore, if somebody can extend our, and in fact, I particularly love the fact that the hotel and relaxed. Maybe one of the big men can give us another 1 week to stay. So that we hear fresh information like this. And most importantly, I love the fact that every leader must make himself available. I like that part. If you're not available, you are not.
There's a vacuum.
There is a vacuum. Availability is okay. It's included. At this point, I now invite the Vice President to please summarize and give us a vote of thanks. We're excited with this couple, and we're good, and we're happy with what you have said. Let the Vice President now come. Uzo,
Stars.
Uzo,
Stars.
Uzo.
Thank you, Mr. Alanta and Mrs. Alanta. Alinta, is it? Alinta. So I'm calling it in our own tongue. The lectures today is actually superb. And I wouldn't just call it a lecture, I would call it, training. Is a training, and like what our evidence said, that it's not easy to get this man seated. When Mrs. Alita was talking, straight away I went to my website, I went to my company website. So if you go to my company website, most of the things she's speaking is all stated in my company website.
Wow.
Because as a forensic psychologist and someone who majors in disability and people with mental illness, you cannot deal with these people. These people, when somebody is disabled, when somebody has intellectual disability, there are places they are very smart. They are more smarter than any human being on earth in that area. If you meet somebody with disability, I have met a Lebanese guy who is highly autistic. Nobody can calculate, nobody can give you the answer of any figure more than him. He will give it to you more than a computer. But in other places, he doesn't know anything. So, and when she was talking, she touched me so much because there is no way you can be able to lead people, there's no way you can be able to influence people without showing them that you care. Without valuing them. They see that you see them as valuable. They are valuable. That's what is in my website. Yeah. That people are valuable. You know, so if you do not show people that you value them, they can never trust you. And there's no way you can influence them. There is no way that you can lead them. And there's no way you can even brainwash somebody without them trusting you. It's only when you win them over, that is when you can be able to brainwash them.
That is the trust.
That is the trust. So, honestly, this is an amazing time that we have spent. On behalf of the president, the sitting president of UZOAGBA Stars, and on behalf of all the ESCO members, and on behalf of our President Emeritus and myself as the Vice President of UZOAGBA Stars, we want to tell you that we are honored, we are privileged, and we are very, very excited to have been privileged to have you guys come to us today and impart this valuable, knowledge. It is priceless. And we want to continue to have a relationship with you guys. And trust me, I would invite her to train and speak to my management of my company. Initially, I was making arrangements to get all my managers to Lagos for management training, but I think it would be more cheaper to take her to wherever. So we are humbled, we are grateful, we appreciate what you have imparted in us today. And those are our stars who are more equipped today for us to go and work for UZOAGBA. Thank you very much. Thank
you. Madam CSP, the President has extended an invitation for you people to join us for the dinner. This is so graciously thankful to you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. President, we are most grateful and do not take this privilege for granted. Help me as a part of UZOAGBA.
Let us close with a short prayer, please. No, for this session. Let us close this session with a short prayer. Even though no prayer is short. I won't come to the police station. Let us bow our heads in a prayer. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for this brilliant decision to train our nation. We now ask that everything we have learned today will not depart in the mighty name of Jesus.
Amen.
We will continue to get better and better and better. So we ask in Jesus' mighty name.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lord Chief.
But,
Please, I'll
Was it-
pass my evaluation from through him.
okay.
And the soft copy.
Yes, I will,
No,
I will send it to that same email.
Yes.
I will send it to you.
You're coming back.
Are you coming back?
Just stop.
I'm not finished.